Okay. Here's the thing. I would probably spend. I mean, why do you want to pick up Tracer, or why is that a new thing?
She's a good character, and I like how she plays. I like the fast pace. I like the um how like how much potential she has when she dives as well.
Right.
I'm just getting
Um.
her now.
Yeah, because I normally that is the thing, right? I especially maybe it's a bit lower than Plat One and whatnot, but usually I see tons of players in metal ranks have too wide of a hero pool. Because
Hmm.
do you think the reason why you're not mastered on PC is because you're not playing Tracer?
No,
No,
no.
right, definitely. That's right. It's probably because you're not good enough on Genji, or that character hasn't reached a new skill ceiling yet. Or how you haven't reached a new skill ceiling yet on that character. And it's why I actually put that.
Yeah.
I
So yeah, sorry for cutting you off. Just this code here, I wanted to show you because I feel like I've done good on Tracer on this map, and um, if you could just tell me what I could do better.
okay,
That's what I would ask if that's okay.
sure, okay. Which one are you here, by the way?
Toji, I'm Toji.
Koji. Okay, cool. A little bit. Okay, so usually the way I break down Tracer is into micro and macro. I assume you know most of the micro stuff in terms of like just general awareness and knowledge of it. So
Hmm.
usually stuff like let's see, stuff like trigger discipline, general tracking, general. I mean, I say pulse bomb management. I honestly, pulse bomb does not really matter that much at this elo. Like, it obviously really matters, right? It can be the difference between getting a kill or not. But generally, pulse bombs are or become something that I look at more at high elo. But you know, so maybe we'll see. How do you feel about pulse bombs generally?
Um, Honestly, it depends on the day. If I'm playing good, I'll hit my pulses. If I'm like playing shitty, like I am now because I just woke up, bit harder to hit.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. I mean, the thing with pulse bomb inconsistency is I always say, you should probably know where the enemy's going to be moving to. 5 seconds, or
Mm.
not exactly 5 seconds, right? But before you hit the pulse bomb, like 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds before it actually happens. It doesn't always mean that you hit the stick or whatnot, but often mean that you'll get close to it, or you'll get some splash damage, or you'll force them in a position that is not great for them to move to. So that's what I generally say. Most important stuff though that's not related to was that specific to Tracer is of course your general blink management, and there's a lot that comes underneath this. So firstly is the more general stuff, so like cover usage. What, in other words, where are you blinking to? How's your uptime in the mid fight? Are you getting reforced out a lot of the time too early on? Are you doing stuff for like 5 seconds, or are you doing stuff for like 30 seconds into a fight? That stuff is really important. Also, reload management comes underneath that too. In other words, making sure that you're reloading behind cover, and which increases your uptime. Obviously, if you're stuck in open space reloading, you're probably gonna have to use a re. And then lastly, underneath this is one that I see a ton. I guess it's gonna happen in this VOD, I guarantee it. Is blink melees. And this happens so much, right? Now, blink melees are fine to finish off kills. If you see someone low HP, like 40, 50 HP maybe, blink melee is fine. But it's become such a universal muscle memory habit for every single Tracer player on this planet to use or do blink melees after they finish a clip. And the reason why I hate blink melees is because you often commit one or two blinks, you commit positionally, you commit again out in open space because of it, and it often means that after you hit the melee, you're probably gonna have to use a recall. And this is, which is why I hate blinky melees a lot. Unless again it's the finish of a target if they're 1 HP. That's when it becomes reasonable. Barring that, it's probably gonna happen as well because every single trace of what I do, it pretty much happens. Macro stuff, we can keep this fairly basic-ish, which is like marking like heavily aggressive angles. So like example here would be like if there's Sojin is taking a really aggressive angle, making sure that she's looking at you and not your team is really important. Aggressive aggro angles. Another part of it too, and this gets a little bit more complicated, is the squishiness of your backline. So in other words, and this becomes important in tracer mirrors, if this person were to go onto your Juno Mercy backline, whereas you were to go onto the Mercy Life Weaver backline, who do you think would have the better trade?
Most likely they're Tracer
Yeah,
because
they're
Juno's
tracer.
easier to dive than
Exactly,
yeah.
right? The Tracer's got an easier time going to Juno than she does Life Weaver, which plays into a part of the reason why you might want to play. How might you adapt your playstyle knowing that?
Try and like prevent her take the duel so
Right.
she doesn't go for my backline.
Right, so that's the general idea, right? Mirror the Tracer, prevent her from going and taking a flank, right? Especially considering as well, they're running Bull here, so they're running an even scarier dive threat. Mirroring becomes, and prevention becomes even more important here. But also, on top of that as well, how, and this is where it gets slightly more complicated, if you're this Tracer here, right, and you still want to reach the Juno backline, how might you mirror their Tracer, or how might you duel their Tracer?
Probably with a ball dive.
Exactly,
I
right?
mean,
So,
yeah.
right, so when you've got the ball with you, then you might want to 2v1 this Tracer here. Now, it gets even more complicated, because how might you want to prevent that from happening?
Don't take the 2v1. You need to probably either stay with your team, play more team based than off angles.
Exactly,
So you don't
right?
get that
So,
2v1.
yeah, so generally try and play, if you're going to mirror the Tracer, or mirror the ball, or even mirror both, be within a line of sight of your Cassidy. Be within line of sight of your Juno, so they can actually help you and give you supports. And also, that gets even more complicated. You want to maybe try and play places that, if the enemy team, i.e. these guys, they want to come and force you out, it becomes risky or expensive for them to do so. So you're kind of seeing like the slow, gradual back and forth layers between how both teams might want to play this sort of matchup here. But then again, that stuff can become overtly complicated, and because this is Platinum, I doubt it's really going to matter. Most of the time, it's probably going to be you forcing out Tracer if you see her on an angle, maybe playing back to a Cash Juno if you start losing the duel, some micro in that duel too, of course, and of course, again, eventually trying to get onto these guys where possible. But we'll see how this pans out. Generally, of course, I'm looking for you to play a little bit more of a preventative style of Tracer, to keep your Juno and your backline alive. But we'll see how this pans out here. Okay.
Just two things if I can add before we get into
Go
the
on, yeah.
thing. I've peaked Diamond 2 and I've played in Masters scrims before.
Okay.
So I'm not actually a plat shitter. I'm plat. My current rank is plat 1 because of the drives. I have placed really high before, like high diamond.
Okay, good to know. Okay.
Yeah, and also we kind of explode the first fight. We kind of just like all of us like blow up, and I don't know. That's just one thing I'd like to point out.
Right.
Which you'll
So
see soon.
usually, I mean, as a good old saying, you can't live a good dive. So if you explode here, it's gonna be this guy gets a nice slam, this guy gets a really good angle, this guy gets a really, really good angle with a pocket sojourn as well, and the ball blow up your team, and it's just synchronized at the same time. So, and the way you sort of, again, stop that from happening is you stop that, you prevent it from happening, right? It's the whole prevention idea. The ball can't, the dive's going to be less scary if this person isn't on a good angle, or if this person has no recoil and is forced out, or that kind of thing. We'll see how this pans out. Okay, so you see ball, I'll just probably, well, there we go. Alright. Okay. 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 So now we're starting to see like the 2v1 occur here, right?
Yeah.
But there's a little bit before that I kind of wanted to sort of bring up here, if the Rubicon mentions it. So you scout ball playing main here, right? So what does that tell you about the space you can take? At least early on.
I mean, from what I can see from this angle, left is completely empty, like is in bounce pad. That's empty, and I'm contesting the right side against the Tracer.
Right, so if you could play, so when you see ball here, pinging roughly here, or sometime beforehand, right? But you ping the ball eventually and you see the ball hang up on here. That's sort of your go sign to be like, okay, ball's hanging up on this high ground, I'm gonna start taking the space here. Because my cast can see me from here, I've got the play around, I'm basically 1v1ing the Tracer as far as I know, and if the ball wants to go on to me, then of course I can just quickly leave and dash back here to where I'm already playing. So in other words, you can essentially play this space here at no cost, at no risk to your character, because you see the ball playing here. So in other words, to change how this fight could have gone, you see ball, you dash over here, you blink over here, and you sort of play this angle because you can, and because the ball's not going to mark you. You do it a little bit too late, but ball eventually he sort of boops you, and you sort of get 2v1 here, right? You're a little bit slow to take this angle, and again, you get 2v1 because of it. And I would expect the recoil to be forced as a result. Maybe? There we go, right? So Yeah, I guess the question then becomes, I mean, I'm not gonna blame you too much for this because in fairness, you don't know exactly what their comp is, and we've kind of just spent a few minutes discussing what you might want to be thinking about doing. So I'll let that mistake slide based on again the knowledge of their comp for first fight. But yeah, recall out not ideal, and getting 2v1 not ideal. Okay, Blink's fine, Ball's 1, and I mind forcing out. Sure, Trip Force, okay. We've got Tracer, fine. Sure. Yeah, it's a little bit too late there. Your cast dies in the midst of that, and then the rest of your team died there as well. And that prevention that you do is pretty good, but again, it's just a too little too late. Okay, hopefully this next fight goes a little bit smoother.
I do explode. Also, this is my actual first time ever playing, like not ever playing Tracer, but this is my first ranked season ever playing Tracer. I just picked her up like last week.
Okay, okay. Good to know is there as well. I mean, when you're playing Master Scrims as well, do you, again, I assume you stick to Genji mostly?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, makes sense. Does like your team want you to like pick up Tracer or something? Is that why you're sort of picking up Tracer for the time being?
No, I used to do scrims like with
Oh,
Masters. I
okay,
don't
okay,
do them
okay.
anymore. I quit. That was more a while ago. But I I was asked if I can play Tracer, and no. So they either put me on like Genji or even Soj if we had someone who's better on Genji.
Right, right. You know, because widening your hero pools does make sense if you're again you're playing or you're intending to play in a team environment, not immediately, but maybe in the future, because that's one benefit of that as well. Because it is awkward to not play Tracer when again she's 6 damage right now. But yeah, was one thing here that's also kind of slightly is a bit of a missed opportunity, I guess we could say. So
I could have gotten out here.
yeah, right. So you already know, right? The second that you see the Tracer commit onto your Juno, you know by proxy she's not going onto you, and also by her body language, she does not know where you are right now. So you can AFK here, maybe you can literally hide here to be honest, right? Or even deepen your angle and go behind the enemy team. Often it's not something that I recommend against Board Tracer because these are two characters that can and do have the mobility to come and force you out. But if they don't know where you are and you're unscouted, use that, right? There's no reason to blink in here and to try and go for a trade on the full HP characters. Again, maybe if Trace was low, maybe if you knew she didn't have recall, maybe if Ball was still low, right? Maybe that makes more sense. But yeah, here it's again a massive missed opportunity, and now you're gonna have to spend the next fight trying to set up for again basically no reason. It's something that I see a tons of players do on Tracer, and it's like it's so easy to fix. But yeah, okay, we'll see here. Right. Okay, probably have to Tracer to the right side a little bit. Crouching there, fine. Okay. Okay. Sure. So that okay, this blink melee here is relatively fine. This one isn't as egregious as the ones that I've seen in the past. The reason why this one's fine is because no one else is here. So you're taking a 1v1. Tracer's already 1 HP too, or fairly got big HP advantage here. So this sort of blink melee there, I can live with. It's relatively fine. You're also not committing positionally for it either. Okay. Okay. So there's two things here. What do you think the main? I could talk about your coverage you just said, which I will, right? What do you think the main mistake here is after you force Tracer?
I didn't know what she was.
Part of it, right? Do you need to kill the Tracer here?
No, force her out.
Right, you've
Better.
done.
Well, yeah.
Right, like you've done the hard thing. You've forced her out. Your backline's fine. Your Juno cast is completely fine, right? Now, obviously, that doesn't mean that I don't want you to push the Tracer, right? Because of course, if you've got an advantage, push it. Makes sense, right? So of course, you can push the Tracer and try and get the kill here. All reasonable stuff, right? But what I don't happening is for you to be a little bit overtly greedy and jeopardize your own safety to try and get this kill. And I think that's the slight error that occurs here. Well, like, look at that blink out in the open space, right? Against the entire the enemy backline here. Now, of course, Mercy like we were unlocking at Tracer, but in principle, this is not an ideal blink, right? So, what could have been a slightly better blink about now?
Maybe blink around cover, like in the middle, like instead of left, I go right.
Right, so maybe one thing you can do here is blink straight here, blink straight here, use this as cover, try and force out Tracer, and then you can strafe back to your team if you need be, right? So you can use this and this as kind of your cover points. You can also maybe use this as well, or back off to here. It's a little bit more risky though, because you don't know exactly who's behind you. But yeah, I would say for sure playing within your team's LOS a little bit more and having a little bit more leeway to come back a little bit to your Cass and your Mercy and your Juno, rather than committing deep into the enemy team, is kind of the major mindset mistake that I see here. I think your brain kind of goes, oh, I see, I've got a big advantage here, which you do, right? You trace off HP with no V. You do have a big advantage here. You kind of get a little bit overtly greedy for it, and it's undisciplined, is kind of the word I'd say to describe this kind of play. I think that's not ideal. And now you get low HP, and now, I always say this as well, the second you start panicking on Tracer, all your micro goes out the fucking window. Your blink usage, I mean, we were just seeing that, right? The one blink there out in open space causes you to panic, and now you've got no blinks, and now you're gonna have to use recall, and now this person's actually getting adequate help by their team, whereas you're not. And this is kind of what I sort of mentioned there at the beginning, or why I kind of mentioned this is so important, is playing within your team's LOS, because this stuff's gonna happen, right? Just in a small frame, or a small window, now the Tracer's got the advantage and you don't. So yeah, not particularly ideal. Okay, and what could have happened here is you could have stayed here, maybe deepen your angle and try and get, like, oh my days, right? Like, imagine you just sort of stayed here, force Tracer out a little bit more within your team's LOS, deepen your angle here, and then went on to Weaver. Like, that would be absolutely prime perfect, right? You've done your job, you force Tracer out, you've got an ability to go onto the backline, and you do take that ability to go on the backline here, right? But instead, where are you right now? You're down main, basically, right? And now you're having to stage up again, which is not ideal. Okay, sure. I wouldn't blink back to your team there. I would mainly just strafe out, right? Your team can see you, right? Or they should be able to see you. I mean, again, it's plat or diamond, right? So teammates are going to be the most aware in the entire world, but I wouldn't have to panic out blinks there because of it. Okay, Ultra. And now we're starting to see like a slight what do you call it? Dominoes effect of mistakes. Where again, your life would have become 10 billion times easier had you just taken a slight bit of discipline to just play back here. Because honestly, again, now even though you got Queen Shout, you're not in any position right now to do anything. Like, look at this position, right? Like, very passive. No way you can sort of reach these characters here. Tracer's got a decent amount of space here too. Not in any position here as well to force out ball potentially. Like, you're not in a position to really do anything off the Queen Shout. It's not particularly ideal. Okay. Queen ult here. Honestly, I don't mind. Again, it's kind of like you're kind of forced to blink forward here, down main, which is not ideal. Again, you could have had a pincer earlier, but I'm not gonna keep being a dead horse. We'll see how your blinks are here. Right, so where can you blink to? From here.
Probably. After the first blink, or
like around about here right now.
Under Life Weaver, like where the pedal will drop.
Yeah, right. So you can go through here and do here, and then play underneath there, and then shoot the pedal. That's fine as well. You can maybe even double blink over here, take the jump pad, and go over here. That could be fine as well. But some kind of deeper angle here is kind of what I'm getting to, right? So some kind of deeper angle over here. That's not directly down main, which I believe is what you do here, right? And look at your blinks.
Yeah. I go through main, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, right. And I was saying as well, whenever you stack main, you will take more damage and you'll deal less of it too. And we're kind of seeing that here. We're having to go into Soldier LOS, into a disruptor shots to try and get some value. It's not particularly ideal. Okay, at least we get her eventually though, so better late than never, I suppose. Okay, so what should you blink to? Again, you've got, and this is a nice thing I should have also mentioned here as well, right? Every dive character in this game has some kind of downtime. So Genji, for example, has got downtime during his deflect because you're not doing anything mechanically. Sombra, that's when you're in invis. Bull, that's when you're rolling around. Doomvis, that's when you're power blocking. Ramatra, that's when you're blocking as well. Ram's not a dive character, but generally most dive characters in this game have moments of downtime. And you can use that downtime essentially to think about what you're doing. On Tracer, it's literally what you're doing right now. It's your AFK on a good angle, waiting for the enemy team to come towards you. So you can practically use this time right now to think about, okay, and when these guys come up the stairs, here I'm going to blink to this XYZ position here. Because obviously, when we're looking at the replay, it becomes fairly obvious or fairly easy to look at different positions you could blink to. When you're in the game, it becomes fairly hard, right? You have to think on the fly. and it's really important you use these kind of moments of downtime to start thinking about where you want to move to. That's part of the in this example. That's a good example of it here, right? Also, a recall is also a form of downtime. It's a second of downtime where you're in an animation doing nothing, right? That's again another period of time you could use to think about where you want to move to after you pop your recall. I bring that up because it's a practical thing you can do if you struggle with thinking about cover usage in the moment. But yeah. So with that being said, though, where should you blink to from here, or get ready to blink to, essentially?
Probably like what my thought process here was to try and pinch the people on bounce because I knew there was a surge there. I didn't know the tracer was there because I'm pretty sure the tracer's also there. So I put myself here and I was gonna blink out, like not into them, but I saw my mercy and I didn't want if I thought to myself if I blinked like to the right and caught them on like when they were rotating out, I felt like my mercy would explode, which I'm pretty sure she does anyways.
Yeah. So that might play a part in terms of like again you're keeping your mercy alive, which is an important thing to do on DPS, right? To not sort of jeopardize your mercy's own positioning. But yeah, I think you would be generally right that hey, I can blink over here. I've got good coverage here by the window, but I can also drop down here, rotate like this, and keep my angle. Or again, I can more safely. Nothing you can do is just blink through here. That could be fine, or blink through here. That could be fine as well, right? So there's some sort of again ability to use cover and keep your uptime on the angle. Either one of those would work. Let's see where you move to from here. Let's go put this point as 5 here as well. Okay. A little bit in open space. Blink behind them. Blink in front. Right. So there's 2 blinks there. What do those blinks achieve? Right. Basically nothing. And again, it's why it's so important that when you have time to think, or when you're not doing anything, and when I say not doing anything, I mean you're not shooting, you're not doing anything mechanical, that's your time to think about your blinks, because you're smart enough to know, hey, I can blink to XYZ. So again, use the time in the game to be able to do that. That helps a bunch. Yeah, then no, obviously you get railed there and made it by the tracer, so not a big surprise. Okay.
From now on, just saying, so I'm pretty sure I'm like 0-2 right now, that's my thing.
Right.
After this, I'm pretty sure I end up 27-4, I'm pretty sure. So I decide, I lock in, I get a decent pulse here on like their backline. I see a lot of people like, because I watch a lot of your videos and I watch a lot of like guides, well not too many, but good pulses are pulses where you don't use all your cooldowns. Like you don't use your 3 blinks and your recall.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure I use 2 blinks and a recall here, but I do get their backline. So I don't know if that's a good trade or should I go for it less often?
Well, we'll see. The thing I'll say or keep in mind for this is is there a different alternative or a low cost alternative to you having to use 2 blinks and a recall to try and get a pulse off? Which again we'll watch and see if that was possible. Again, that might be, for example, if you're set up behind the enemy team and you're fairly close, maybe a blink to try and get close to them, hit the pulse, then 2 blinks out, and then you can save your recall, right? That could be a lower cost alternative, is what I'm really looking for here. So we'll see if that pans out. Pitching is fine, see Mercy, sure. Right, so this is a play that, in principle, I think I mentioned this before, right? But in principle, this shouldn't really work, because I don't think you don't know where the Weaver is, right? I mean, you know a little bit, right? So you see him I see him a brief second there. So maybe that's a little bit more reasonable, to be fair, right? That you've got some kind of notice of where he's going to move to. And you do it so quickly that he hasn't got time to pull up in time. But yeah, I think if you want to hit the pulse here and try and go for it, there isn't really a low-cost alternative. I mean, you could maybe blink through here twice and then just like pressure from here, right? That way you don't have to use pulse, you can keep your angle. And for some reason, I don't know why these guys are stacked like a big-ass line, but hey, it benefits you. You can use this sort of angle here, and you don't have to use the pulses for it. But of course, it's an end justify the means kind of thing, right? Where had you not hit this pulse, let's say you didn't hit it, right? This play looks a lot less reasonable. So I think it's one of those things that if you feel confident that you know where the Weaver's gonna move to based off that slight brief glance you had at him, then I think that play's reasonable, right? But if you're not confident in hitting the stick, then don't go for it. And I think in 9 times out of 10 cases, I think it's more than reasonable. Where it's a more consistent alternative, I'll say, is to go through here and pressure from this angle, and then you can sort of blink in, blink out, look for those kind of pulse plays. That might be a little bit more reasonable than just double blinking in and going for the pulse play. But yeah, of course, it's not like a drastic throw if you do miss the pulse, if you do this kind of play, but it's something that I would keep in mind in terms of like, hey, do you need to do this kind of play? And the answer is no, you don't, right? But yeah. Okay. Alright. Let's see here. Okay. Cool, whatever, right? I'm gonna cry about that too much, just getting clean up. Nice. Clean up a little bit more.
I think a problem I have with Tracer is I'm so like I think I've only played like 2 hours of her in comp ever, and I've got like 300 hours on Genji. I think a lot of my Genji playstyle goes into Tracer a bit too much. I mean, they're kind of similar, but they're kind of not at the same time. Like that's how I grasp the character.
Right. I think with what you just said there actually makes perfect sense, because if you go back to that fight right there, right? And you're playing Genji here, and your queen was literally, I think your queen was like around about here, or right about here. Like that play actually looks more reasonable. You can dash in, deflect out, right? And your queen shouts forward, so you've got options there if you're playing Genji. Again, you can dash in, deflect out, or if your queen shouts in with you, then you can keep reaching for the kill. And then maybe you can deflect out to not even by the car, right? Maybe you can deflect out to this position here, and you can keep your angle, right? I think that is actually very true now that you kind of mention it and bring it up. I think the big thing with the difference between Genji and Tracer, not just Genji and Tracer, but Genji as a character, is deflect. There's no other DPS character in the game that can hold space as well as Genji and as safely as Genji can, and that's because of deflect. Whereas again, Tracer hasn't got that, Echo hasn't got that, Venture hasn't got that really. But yeah, I think it is bleeding into how you play Tracer for sure. And I think that's actually very true now that you say that. But yeah, I think it's gonna take time.
Is really bad.
Yeah, I think it's gonna take a little bit of time because of how the drastic hour differences between your Genji and Tracer sort of rework and adapt those playstyles differently over time. But the fact that you're aware of it is actually again a good thing that you are aware of it. I think that greedy play as well that we saw a little bit on first, or the second fight here, it's greedy play as well. You can probably get away with it if you're playing Genji. You can just deflect out to your team and you're fine, right? You can often be a little bit greedier on Genji and get away with it because of deflect, whereas on Tracer, it's a little bit more punishing because you have to use recall a lot of the time, always blinks and panic out. But yeah. Okay, see
yeah,
here.
it's in a good fight. I don't take it good. I can tell you that. I play this really bad. Like I noticed when I was playing it, like I'm like I should not be here. I shouldn't be here. I noticed it when I was watching it. It was a little moment where I'm like I thought like Genji, as we were just saying. Like here, you'll see it. I feel like I can dash in like pressure from the inside, and then I'd use recall as a deflect, which I'm trying to fit. Like I'm trying to like wire myself that they're two different things. Right, like I can't take like Tracer's main gimmick from like not main gimmick, but one of her main things is not to take unnecessary damage.
Right.
And Genji can take way more damage and get away with it better than Tracer can.
Yeah,
and
I think
I noticed that bad here.
Yeah, we'll see what actually ends up happening here, because honestly, I don't fully hate you staying here. Like, you can sort of play this kind of put overlay on. You can play this kind of position here, and again, if Tracer goes past you, you just punish her, and she can't really push you if you're playing this kind of space here, because you got a good cover usage to sort of play around. So I don't actually hate you playing here, but we'll see what kind of thing that you do here that kind of fuck it up. Oh yeah, you just kind of greed it out. Okay, so this is kind of the thing here. So you see Bull walk past you, that's fine. You see a lot of people there as well. You see the Mercy Beam as well, hopefully. So you should know to play a little bit more defensively. But again, I think you're using recall like as you just said, right? You're using recall like a deflect, because if you're playing Genji, you can hold the space here a little bit more. There's wall climb micro that you can do. You can shuriken the Tracer in the head and force recall out very easily, and dash out if you need to, or again deflect out if you need to. But in Tracer, that's not really the case, because the second you get reforced out, your uptime goes to the fucking floor. So yeah, I would have liked to see you hold a little bit more defensively, a little bit less greedy around this kind of space here. Because now you get reforced out, which is not ideal. Now if you're their Tracer, right, if you're their Bull, I mean, the ball's fairly low here, to be honest, right? But now you've got time or space to set up if you're the enemy team right now. Fortunately, again, ball kind of instant, right? He doesn't zone, he kind of hard dives, but it's okay. Sure. Don't go for this.
This is a bad, yeah, that's bad. Yeah, that's what I was saying. That is bad. I went in because I saw the Surge slide out, so I thought maybe I could get a little poke off. But then again, that matches exactly how that's exactly what I would have done on Genji with the flex.
Yeah, you can zone this way easier or way more easily on Genji than you can Tracer, right? But with again, that links into the fact that you can hold space a lot better on Genji than you can Tracer. This though, it's like using blinks as almost like you're zoning deflect almost. Like it's very your dash almost in a kind of way. Very odds. Honestly, again, you probably should have died there, to be honest. But yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Like masters. Yeah, I explode.
Yeah, looks really rough. Yeah, not ideal. And actually, where could you have been? Let's roll this back, right? And let's say you didn't do that kind of play. Where could you maybe?
Left.
What positions you can? Yeah, exactly, right. Through here, and go behind, or you can just force out Tracer, help your Juno out. That's probably the best thing you can do, to be honest, here, right? But yeah, in other words, just to get this person out, then flank around, right? Most obviously. But yeah, you get way too tunneled on the backline. And actually, does the Soldier and Life Weaver, do they want to walk forward and push this?
No.
No, they do not, right? They will be walking into your sightlines and into your Queen as well, not to mention, right? You're doing a good job just zoning just by holding this corner here, right? There's no trigger for you to be able to go for this kind of play. So really unfortunate. The only reason, or the only potential maybe factors I could see to maybe go for this is if they're low HP, or maybe you've got Pulse. But even then, if you have got Pulse, right, and you want to go for this play, you've already won the fight. There's no reason to go for this Pulse anyways. So yeah, a really greedy play here. Yeah. Okay. We'll see. After you attack your Railgun. Now yeah, your Juno pops Ray. And a nice pincer here would have been amazing from the left side, I can't lie. Yeah. Okay, you can just brute force it with Quino and Xiao and Ray though, so it's fine. Okay. Sure. Nice blink away, sure. Well, that's the worst ones I've seen. Wow, that is so nice. Let's kill. Alright. Let's see next part. This looks decent. Sure. Okay. So, where is your Queen is my big question. Replay code load.
She's in the room walking out now. I'm pretty sure. Like, she's in the room about to walk out.
Yeah, she's broadening out right now. Right.
Yeah.
You're quite obviously looking for the Pulse player, I assume here, right?
I wouldn't remember. I'm pretty sure I tried to duel him, but I have a problem. Like, I've noticed a lot myself. I get too close on Tracer against supports, like Life Weaver. And that again, I don't want to sound like I'm repeating myself, but you know why I play like that. Because Genji, I'd be on top of you.
Hitting shurikens, right? Yeah. Doing all kinds of wood, walk on micro and whatnot. Yeah, it makes sense, right? Because to me, what the body language should look like, okay, I'm flanking behind. And honestly, this blinks here, this looks completely fine if you're going for a pulse. Because again, you use 2 blinks for it. You've still got a blink in spare, right? It should be the easiest pulse of your life, or not easiest pulse of your life, but it should be a fairly easy pulse. You know how he's going to be moving. So yeah, pulsing this right now in this frame would have been great, but you don't do that, right? So you've got 2 options, right? Either you do that Genji greedy pulse play, or you just play the rock. Right? You play the rock, you shoot the Weaver a little bit. Maybe you want to blink out to blink out over here and then widen your angle. That could be fine there as well. You can even stay here and then go into the room and then come here as well. That's fine as well, right? So in other words, just widening your angle and playing in a more disciplined fashion that increases your uptime. I think again you're hardwired, and even on Genji as well. I still think again it's not always necessary to go for the dash play, but you're very hardwired to see a support character and go immediately on top of them. Like almost like a Genji would. And again, it kills your uptime. It kills your uptime entirely.
It sounds like I don't know how to explain it. I don't mean to sound like praise, I guess, but I was holding on to the pulse because I knew Soj didn't have ult. Sorry, I knew Soj had ult, and no one like on my team at the moment, other than the Cass, could have shut it down. And I'm pretty sure this is the part where I blink pulse the Soldier while she ults and blow her up and the Mercy. I'm pretty sure.
Right.
But I should
Okay.
have pulsed here. That's what I should have done.
Yeah. I see. It's the thing with Pulse. I see it way more as an opportunistic kind of play rather than some sort of set fight plan. Like it's good that you're
Mm.
thinking about, oh yeah, I'm gonna try and pulse the soldier because of overclock, right? That makes sense. But if you see an opportunity, like we just saw, go for the play because Pulse isn't a reliable ultimate. It's not. What if you miss the Pulse against Soldier, you know, and then she just domes your entire team with OC with the Mercy Pocket, you know? That fight plan goes out the window. It's not something that's reliable to fight plan around. Whereas something like again Shatter is again another ultimate kind of in that same kind of vein. More consistent ults, of course, would be something like Coalescence, a Rally, an EMP, a Queen ults, something like that is a grab as well. Something that can guarantee even Terror Surge, right? That can guarantee a minimum amount of value. Whereas with Pulse, not really the case. I've actually even seen that you use the Pulse perk here too. You usually use the Pulse perk in as well normally.
Um, it depends on the comp like that I'm versing. I find if I verse someone more fast, like Trace, like not Tracer, but like a Weaver or like someone who like has higher mobility, I don't trust myself enough yet to always land the pulse. But if I'm versing a more slower comp, like an Ana or someone like that, I'll pick the health pack perk.
Right, okay. Generally, the reason why the health pack perk is quite good or generally seem to be better is that it allows you to hold space a lot more. So an example would be this was a decent while ago, but Route 66 first point defense where you can hold by the rock near the gas station where there's a little mini pack. That's a good place you can hold, and you can recharge blinks, and it becomes a whole lot harder to force you out. Another example here on this map might be uh like way over here, and I think there's a mini here. Yeah, there is, right? So again,
Yeah.
talking about how you could have held this rock here, had you had the health pack perk, you can blink over here and get an extra blink by going to this, and that can actually help you hold space. So that's where the health pack perk becomes really useful, where it again thrives a lot, is in those kind of spaces where you really want to hold an angle. And again, it can maybe again cover a little bit of the ground of holding space in a way that Genji can. But yeah, of course, I don't mind going for the pulse perk. The way I describe it or see it is like trading wheels for pulse bomb. If you want to try and again practice your pulses or try and get some value out of it, then I don't hate going for the perk. But yeah. Okay. I don't know why it just ignores you, but sure.
Yeah.
And then yeah, you go for the pulse there. And that actually, you did actually again, that's more than reasonable, right? You had some again indication of where the social was playing by the blue veil shots, so I don't actually mind the pulse there. It's fairly reasonable. I don't hate it. Yeah, again, that another way of how that could have looked, right, is you pulse the Weaver, you hit the pulse, and then you stop playing to shoot the enemy Mercy and the enemy Soj. The Soj looks like you and not her team, and then again, that's another way your team can win that potential fight as well. So again, it's like again the opportunity of seeing pulse. Okay, we'll see here. Okay. Okay, don't die for this. Oh, thank God.
No.
Okay. I saw you just pick the health pack and the riddle. Yeah, you don't like picking the perks that often players don't. Do you just feel that it's generally better than the Blink perk?
I pick it because I feel like it's better for me because I'm not perfect with my blinks just yet. Like I know I have 2 extra blinks, but I feel like for how I've been playing, like as in how my playstyle is, I get more value out of the extra health, but I'm trying to change it. Like
Right,
as in
right.
the Genji thing. I like the blink perk a lot, but because of how I guess it's like I've got an extra blink, I can play more aggro. That's
Right,
how
right.
my brain thinks, and I don't like that, so I pick the um the extra health and ammo perk.
Right.
It's 50-50 though.
Yeah. I mean, the perk still actually it's a lot better than it used to be, but I think the you don't need the extra HP if you've already got good cover usage, good blink management, all that kind of stuff as well. It's kind of a, I guess crutch might be too harsh of a word to describe the perk, but yeah, again, I'm not gonna hate on you for picking it. I've seen Tracer pick it before. But yeah, we'll see how this pans out. Okay. So this is an interesting decision or a play that I see a lot of Tracers do. Is this Tracer right now? Is she easy to force out? And is she dangerous? Or does she need to be forced out, do you think?
No, not really.
Not really, right? So in this situation,
She's
it's
the
not
queen.
it's yeah, right. So it's not easy for you to force out Tracer. You have to commit blinks in front of the backline right over here, and you by proxy you know that the backline's playing there. And you might have to again force out a recall because of it, right? And you're also jeopardizing your own position because of it too, right? Now, of course, would it be nice to force out Tracer? Of course, right? But again, you could maybe what's some other plays that you can maybe do here from this sort of position here?
Wrap around, so go behind me
Exactly,
through like
right?
the stairs, and then focus backline, which is just right here.
Right, again, zone these guys off, keep these guys looking at you, distract them, take a 1v3, play your blinks well, use cover well, and distract these guys, and let your team clear the ball tracer on the front line in the meantime. Could be a nice play that you can do if you can't easily clear their tracer. As you can see here, it splits past you and goes past you anyway.
This is a bit dumb on my part. This is really dumb.
Well, you
I
waiting
tried
for recall.
to match. Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
trying to
I
follow up with the recall.
already, yeah. And it's kind of the thing, right? Because you can almost like blink her over here and then try and can predict where she's going to move to afterwards. But I think because again,
Yeah.
you're already low on blinks, so you don't want to actually waste them. But again, it's
Yeah.
kind of a slow dominoes thing. You want to clear tracer, you're forced to use blinks. Because you're forced to use blinks, you don't want you're waiting for recall. Because you're waiting for a recall, get booped by ball, and it becomes a slow dominoes effect downhill. From there on. And yeah, that's a reforce.
I didn't need that recall there. Like, I did not need it.
Right,
I
yeah.
don't think.
Yeah, you're exactly right because you're safe.
Yeah.
No one's coming for you here. I think there's a pack here as well.
Yeah.
Or maybe
just
yeah,
in
there
this
is. You're right
room.
there. Right, yeah. There's even a pack there as well. So again, it's something that I see. Actually, on Genji is pretty important. It's something that I've described as visual aggro in the past in some videos. But obviously right now nobody's looking at you. There is zero visual aggro here. So even though you're low HP, doesn't indicate the aggro that you're visually taking. So that's why the blink here becomes not also the recall there is a little bit again, not even a little bit. It's completely unnecessary.
I thought the ball, like my thought process was, I thought the ball would chase me because I was low, but that's just
Right. Again, the ball wants to be thinking of like, can I clear Tracer? Can I chase Tracer here, right? And I think once he sees that you're low HP, he's kind of thinking, oh yeah, Tracer's already cleared. I'm not going to invest my HP and my entire resources just to force a recall. Because again, you're already fairly cleared out. Again, it's the ease of clearance is, again, one of the factors that dictate whether it's worth clearing a Tracer or not, or clearing a ball or not, or clearing a flanker or not. And now again, we're seeing the dominoes, right? The dominoes fall because you could have been way over,
back there.
right? Way over here, right? Whereas now you're, where even are you? You're on the stairs,
behind.
right? Yeah, really not in a great
Stairs.
position. Uptime's been a very key thing. Okay, now we're shooting off an HP wall, high value. And even now, right? Like even now, even though you're not set up, right? That doesn't give you an excuse to not try to set up again, right? So where are some positions you can maybe move to from here to try and set up again?
Like through the building.
Yep, right. So through here and set up again, right? You can maybe go through here, blink once, and then go through here. That could be fine as well. But I often say here is probably the best one. It's least because of the resistance. You can still see everything here, right? And you can also shoot the ball in the meantime, right? So yeah, and also, of course, if you blink through here, the ball actually might want to chase you and force you out. So yeah, keep your distance, go around the left side and set up again. Just because you're not set up doesn't give you an excuse to stand down main and shoot the ball.
I think I shoot the, like, my thought process. I thought I'm with my Cass, my Mercy, and my Juno. If the ball goes in, he just explodes, which I'm pretty sure he ends up exploding. Now, I obviously, like when I
Right.
was higher ranked, the balls would never do that. Like
Exactly.
this,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
a lot of platinum ball players, what I've noticed, especially like Dooms, Divas, they always hard engage, they never soft engage.
Yeah, yeah,
Now
yeah, yeah,
this
yeah.
this ball loves hard engaging. That's why
Exactly,
I
yeah.
played more with my Cass.
Yeah. It's again that thing where it's like, in principle, it's probably better to go top left, and in principle, it's probably not better to stack down main in front of your Cass and your Mercy. But because of how bad they play, the outcome is you're gonna get more value by standing here rather than going all the way around left side and looking to restage again. I think again normally the visual cue is once you see these guys are full HP and they're far away and no one's killable, that is your visual cue to tell you to go ahead and restage, right? But of course, here in this elo, that's your visual cue to be like, you know what, this guy's gonna hard feed, I'm gonna punish him for it. And yeah, he's gonna hard feed, right? So average ball player. Okay, at least now you do restage, which is nice. One thing that I don't, okay, this is something that I don't always like. Let's see how many blinks you use to get to the right side. 1, 2, right? And now, by the time you're engaging on Weaver, you're down a blink and a bit, right? Or you've only got 1 blink active right now. Now I don't mind using blinks to get to flanks a little bit quicker. That's completely normal. But where the line is drawn for me is when that jeopardizes the amount of blinks you have when you're actually fighting someone. So when you're fighting this Weaver, you're already down a blink, right? Or you're kneecapping yourself in terms of the amount of blinks you have, right? There's also another point here as well. You need to get value right now.
Not really, the ball's dead, but our queen is also dead, so
Right.
I thought in my mind I gotta be somewhere that's not main. I gotta make him look at me so we don't get like flooded.
Right.
Like
So
walked over.
that's important, right? Because these blinks look fine if you're just looking to distract them and not actually commit and go for a kill, right? So maybe you literally play here, you play here, you play maybe another blink to get to here, and you just play to again make sure this Weaver, this person, and this person look behind you. You're not playing for kills, you're playing for attention. Which again would make perfect sense. These guys are full HP, and you're again, as you kind of mentioned, right? You're in a fight where you're not looking, or you're in a 4v4 situation where no one's really killable. Yeah, it makes more sense and more than reasonable to sort of just play this angle here, soft engage almost in a kind of way. And then if you see an opportunity to get a kill, maybe this person gets low or whatever the case may be, then you can commit for the kill. But again, this to me, if I'm back to the Genji thing, looks like a Genji engage. That blink there to me looks like a Genji engage. Where you're in open space in front of a Mei, and you're probably, if I had to guess, just based off this frame, you're probably gonna get recall forced out soon in the next 2-3 seconds. But we'll see.
I get the fight back.
Yeah, who could have seen that coming? You know. It's just such a tiny, minuscule difference between moving from here to here versus moving from here to here, right? But it makes such a big difference to your uptime. It's kind of crazy. And I can see why you prefer that HP perk now. Because it saves you essentially. If you get pushed, or again, it's kind of it's a crutch or a failsafe for you essentially. But yeah. Okay. Bit unfortunate. Alright.
And the ball comes in like Superman. Like you'll see him fucking flying in.
Yeah, coming in, yeah.
That's why I double blink, because I knew he's like a very aggressive ball. So I thought get with my queen, because I'm pretty sure my queen's here behind me.
Right. Okay. We'll see here. Staging looks fine.
This is bad. This here is really bad what I do. I wanted to do a pulse, but I was confident Weaver had grip, and I only realized when I went in for it, and I'm like, oh shit. And then it was just a really bad play on my part. So I see the Mercy in the corner. I see the Mercy, but she has LOS of the Weaver. So I went to pulse, but I'm like, here. Like right here, I noticed, oh shit. She's just gonna get gripped, and the pulse is useless, so I got out. It's a waste of CDs.
Yeah. Again, things you're playing. How do I say it? You're almost kind of doing what the bull does in a way, where again you're looking to hard engage with an ultimate, i.e. pulse bomb in this case, and not really look to again play for uptime, play for attention, play so you can stay in the backline permanently and consistently get value, rather than trying to get some kind of burst value. Maybe you miss it in some situation, you get reforced out, and then you're just back down main shooting a fucking ball for eternity. It's not ideal here. So the staging is good, right? But how do I say it to what should be the cue, the visual cue that tells you to go, or tells you to engage?
I guess like GA, or if the Weaver comes back.
Right, so it could be a cooldown from your queen, also from the Mercy. Yeah. It could be a cooldown from your queen, so maybe your queen walks forward like this, shouts, and then that maybe gives you a prompt to go in like this. Maybe the ball slams in, and they want to trade backline, so again, that's your opportunity to start doing stuff, right? Some kind of visual cue or visual cue of aggression from any teammate here is kind of your cue to go. Whereas here, it's none of that, sadly. Very unfortunate. There's also a second part of this too, right? And this is where things get a little bit interesting. I don't think you need to recall this, right? I think maybe you can actually strafe down here and play this pillar, or this cover here, whatever this thing is called, and keep your recall. Because if I put overlay on, who on earth can force you out here? Like,
yeah, I had because I saw the mate, and I'm like, if the mate turns around and just icicles me, I'm gonna get forced out anyways. That was why I made that play, because I knew the mate was around like here. I didn't know she would explode from my cast. That's why I recalled. If I knew the May was dead, I wouldn't have recalled.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing here is like you can sort of go for this kind of play, quote unquote, right? You can sort of pressure the Mercy. You can do it in a slightly more disciplined fashion to try and reach for the cover here and keep the angle. Because then again, even if you realize midway, oh shit, the pulse is gonna get gripped anyways, there's no point in going for it, then you can still keep the angle and play the cover. Whereas here you're so tunnel on getting the pulse play that you forget that, you know what, I can actually stay on the angle here. And you saw May shooting icicles there as well, so you know she's roughly there, down main as well. But yeah. Okay. Sure.
The screen is a little bit laggy. A little bit laggy.
Yeah, this happens on Discord sometimes. But hopefully should be fine. I'll try and do more freeze frames instead of playing the code. That normally helps out a bunch. But yeah. Okay, we'll see next. But that's gonna be clean up there. We'll see. Here against Paul, forcing the ball out. Drip force, sure. Sure.
I'm gonna get off stream and just try it again.
Yeah, I might have to restream it. I'll restream it. That sometimes helps. I'll do lower quality as well. Okay. If I do like a frame like this should be like clear, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then if I stop playing it, it's this when the bitrate starts getting a little bit fuzzy. Okay. Okay. Sure. Again, this looked to me like you wanted to go for a pulse play, you know? Like, it's a very similar thing to what we just mentioned 2 fights ago. So I guess the question then becomes, okay, you see Weaver. No one right now, you can see literally no one else is on the enemy team right now. Why not go for this pulse play?
Sorry, you're like, it's very like the Discord's very laggy. I could barely understand when you talk.
It's my voice like, yeah, I can see top.
Yeah, you sound like Soundwave.
I can see the bottom left. I'm on 300 ping. On the Discord sort of voice thing. Currently, I read 321 ping. Not looking good. Let me test my internet connection actually, because maybe it's on my end.
I mean, you sound a little bit better now, no? A little bit.
Yeah, my internet connection's fine. Yeah, I'm getting normal numbers.
Yeah, you sound better now.
Yeah,
like I can understand you.
It's gone to yellow. So hopefully, if I start talking again and I start saying things, it doesn't come out again. But we'll see. But yeah, my point here was like, okay, you see nothing's on your screen apart from Life Weaver. You go for a double blink. You got a perfect opportunity to line up the pulse bomb. Why not go for it?
I guess because I feel like I could kill him without the pulse bomb and save it for a more important kill.
Right. Yeah, I guess I can see that, right? I guess here's the thing. I'll list out like a bunch of triggers that I normally see, or visual indicators that I normally see that tell you, hey, it's actually fine to go for a pulse play. And it's really confusing. You kind of said that to me when last fight it was the opposite, where you're hard looking for the pulse early on onto a target that can just get gripped anyways, right? Where there's no trigger to go for the pulse. Whereas right now you're killing the guy that can't grip himself, and also you've got a clear positional trigger to go for the pulse, right? He's right in front of you. You can guess his actual positioning. There's a few things that I look for, or a few triggers that I look for, to where you can like hard and confirm value. The first one is again fairly obvious for HP, right? If they're low HP, you probably don't need to go for pulse, but you can blink aggressively and look for a follow-up kill. Second one is cooldowns. Again, as we've talked about in this game, grip's been the main one. Third thing, what was it? Oh yeah, positional, right? So again, Weaver is alone. He's isolated. He's also in open space. So you've got two key positional triggers that tell you, you know what, I can actually go for the pulse play onto Weaver here. Fourth thing is, I mean, normally I'd say ults, right? But that's a more general, broad category. We're talking about pulse bombs specifically here. But of course, if let's say their Weaver popped Tree of Life and was on 400 HP, and probably less of a case to hit the pulse because I think he can live it. But yeah, that could be a potential case there. And last one is numbers. So again, I think we saw a little bit earlier, not great writing there, but we saw a little bit earlier, I think, where you're already 2 people up, you don't need to go for a pulse bomb. To give an example, right? But yeah, those are some triggers that I see that tell you visually, hey, I can actually go for the confirmed kill here. And I think again, confirming the kill on the Weaver here, with that pulse play, it would have been again more than reasonable. Rather than keeping it for a rainy day. Again, reframing it as like an opportunistic ability. But yeah. Okay. Is the stream still fine right now? Is it still?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay. And of course, again, you get the kill there regardless, right? And again, it's like in principle, you shouldn't really. I don't know why he just ignores you. He doesn't shoot you at all. He doesn't try and force you out. We're late into the game now, so he's probably got the super bloom perk as well. I don't know why he just ignores you. Nor does he try and pedal up and try and avoid you. I don't know exactly why. But that's reasonable. Nice.
Since we're like running out of time, like there is one kill like I want to ask you about like before we end the stream.
Yeah.
If that's okay. Run out of time.
Is there a specific? Yeah, where is it in the board here?
I kill Jupiter on. He's on Venture. It's more at the end of the game.
Go. Thank God for this bookmark feature.
Yeah. It's so yeah. So he switches to Venture, obviously to try and
mark you, right?
contest me because so I do what you said before with like the setup. I go through this building here, and I know there's a Venture here. Now what I've learned from Ventures is that splash is like Chaser's worst nightmare because she doesn't have to hit you to force you out. She can just shoot the general area.
Yeah. It's really annoying.
I wanted to know if I played this fight correctly. That's all I wanted to know.
Right. Okay. We'll see here. Okay. So you see Tracer's playing far. That initial scouting on Tracer is actually fairly important because that again tells you that if you go for this left side flank, you're not gonna get 2v1'd by a Venture and a Tracer. You still might get 2v1 by a ball, right? But that scouting there is important. Okay, ball's gone as well. So now you know there's a ball and Tracer that aren't gonna be your issue, right? So by proxy, this is gonna be a 1-on-1. Okay, that's okay. We'll slow it down here a little bit. Okay, I think that's fine. Okay, so yeah, this is where this blink becomes a little bit more scuffed and a little bit more questionable. I don't fully hate this because the Venture is low HP here, right? But what might be the concern with going for a play like this?
Dashing straight into a shot.
Exactly, right? She can shoot, dash, shoot, and then you're dead. Or you get at least you get reforced out, right? So I think you need to go for the Venture kill here.
Not right now, no. Like
Not
not
right
as
now.
in not with these shots coming at me.
These shots coming at you, not right now, no, right? Is Venture also a threat to your team?
No,
No. Is Venture going to be threatening to your team in this near future on half HP?
no,
No,
no.
right? So you can again, it's a very similar thing we talked about back on the second fight, I think it was, where you're playing in the room and dueling their tracer, and you get an advantage. You have an advantage here, right? They're half HP,
Mhm.
you're not, you're full HP. But you overextend a little bit too much, and honestly, I think again against a better Venture, you probably die for this, or again you get a reforced out more likely. Um, and they missed that shot there, which is crucial, and they don't commit the dash onto you, which honestly would have actually got the reforce out of you. And then here, Blink Melee, actually Blink Melee is actually good. Honestly, this is the first trace of what I've had in a while that I haven't seen a bad Blink Melee. So congrats on that. But Blink Melee there is reasonable towards the end, right? Because you get them to low HP. But that blink there, i.e., when you blink in front of them, I'm not happy with that. Or I'm not. That's not a blink that I would say is a good blink. Of course, because Venture misses, right? That follow up blink melee, that's fine. But it's this initial stretcher that I don't like, or that's not ideal to me. Again, Venture's not a threat to you or your team. They're half HP. They're not gonna die if your team on half HP. That's not gonna happen. And if they do, then of course, then you can start going for backline, right? But yeah, that's not a major concern or threat to me at all. Okay, and actually, I think arguably the more damning mistake here, arguably, is you see Tracer way over here, and I think, do you know? Yeah, you know they're running Venture because they're already halfway to ultimate here.
Yeah, she's 50.
Right. You know that this is an extremely aggressive front line. I actually think it's a better play to blink over here and try and dual Tracer and prevent Tracer from going for a dive. Mainly because I think you try and avoid the ball Tracer going here, whereas here again I think it's really important you prevent these guys from going for a dive. Again, you happen to bump into Venture, I think, is the argument or the point I want to get across here.
Yeah.
You happen to go into Venture here, whereas again, you know Tracer's over here, right? I would have actually liked to play here. Try and keep backline the west, obviously, if possible, right? And try and play spaces that are hard to clear. But yeah, I think I would like to see you actually duel their Tracer, but to try and prevent the dive. But yeah. Okay. Any questions about that sort of fights there?
So where I was there, you said to mark the trace up. How would I go about getting to her? Like, would I use two blinks to get to her, and then,
Right.
or would I just blink once, get to the room, and then mark her there?
When you're fighting Tracer, I don't want you to be at a blink disadvantage. That's the main, by far the main thing, right? So you can use two blinks here, as long as you can actually keep up at least 2.5 or 3 blinks for the actual duel itself. That's the main thing. So maybe you can use 2 blinks here, wait a little bit, right? Maybe you can use 1 blink here, and then walk the rest of the way. Maybe you can use all your blinks here. Maybe not all your blinks, it's a bit too extreme, right? Maybe you can use 2 blinks here, and walk here a little bit, and then duel there. That's fine as well. The key thing is that when you fight someone, I don't want you to be at a blink disadvantage. That's the key thing. But yeah, hopefully that kind of clears up a little bit. But yeah. Okay, we'll do a quick summary. We'll use this wall here. Okay, nice. And then close things out. I think by far the main thing has to be like your greed Genji-esque mindset that has transferred onto Tracer. Again, I think that Tracer duel, Tracer and Venture were good examples of that, where you had a small advantage and you pushed it, or you took too much risk, or you pushed it with too much risk.
Yeah, so it's too easy to lose my advantage.
Exactly, right? A nice way another way I like describing this is, think about whenever you make a choice, there's 2 factors that go into it, which is, and not just 2 factors, right, but this is a way you can think about it, how unnecessary something is, necessary, and how risky something is. Now, I'm completely fine with you doing something that is risky, as long as it's necessary to do so. And you might be seeing where this is going. I'm actually also completely fine with you doing something that's unnecessary as long as it's not risky. Where I draw the line is doing something that's both unnecessary and risky. And that's where, again, you're pushing your advantages, where increasing the risk is what you were doing there, essentially, right? So that's kind of the key thing about the key sort of framework I have with, again, pushing small advantages, is that, again, it's completely fine to do it, just minimize your risk when you do it. That's kind of the key thing. But yeah, we'll back it up there. That's another way you can sort of frame it or think about those kind of plays. Again, we saw also the what was it, the Soj plus Life Eater Blink play.
Mm-hmm.
That was also another one as well, right? And I think the key thing, or the key way to fix this, is firstly acknowledge you've got an advantage, and that should be fairly easy to do. I think you can look at the enemy HP, right? If they're half HP, you know you've got an advantage. If you're up numbers, you know you've got an advantage, right? You can refer back to those triggers to know when you've got an advantage. And I think the second you're smart enough to know this, the second you know you've got an advantage, now you know, okay, I'm not gonna overextend. I'm gonna still push my advantage. That's still fine, right? I'm not saying to give up that small advantage. Still push it. That's fine. Just do it in a less risky manner. I think that's the really important thing. But yeah. Second thing, let me think. We'll say general like cover usage. Cover usage during downtime. So for example, I can't say it textually, but I can show it visually. That fight there where like you were over here and you blinked once into the Life Eater and you got domed by the Mei. That's an example of what I mean there, by having slightly more disciplined cover usage to increase your uptime. Back it up here. So again, that Life Eater Mei fight. There's no triggers to hard engage kill, and a trigger to do that, maybe blinking on the Weaver there could have been fine had you had pulse bomb, right? So again, relating back to those triggers about looking for pulse opportunities. And actually, I think that's going to be the third thing that I'm going to say here as well, is reframing pulse as an opportunity over a fixed play. And this isn't just Pulse, by the way, it's honestly kind of most ultimates in the game. Pulse, Blade, even Nano Boost, EMP as well. If you see an opportunity to confirm a kill, go for it. And actually, I was looking at number one codes from rank 1 Queen players, and they were doing this with Queen ult too. Like, if the Queen got the Genji to 1 HP and he was using Deflect, they would just Queen ult to confirm the kill. And they would win the fight of a 5v4. And they saw an opportunity to go for it, right? And they weren't saving it for a rainy day. They weren't saving it for some massive 5-man or some massive, again, ult play they can maybe use. But I think that's really the key thing there as well. And I'll mention here as well, underneath this. Links into the first point about greed. Where again, sometimes jeopardizing your position for a pulse. Right, so again, the Mercy there with the grip would have been an A1 case of that, where you're kind of having to jeopardize your position to try and get a kill into the Mercy, and you're not even thinking about your own, like, you're not even thinking about the fact that you could have played the cover there and avoid the Mei, because you're so fixated on trying to get a pulse. So yeah, that's how I would sort of reframe pulse bomb. If you see an opportunity, go for it. But yeah, other than that, don't die head over heels looking for a pulse play. I'll say those are the 3 key points. Any questions or things you might want to ask? Or, yeah.
So for this is like, I think this was my 6th game playing Tracer in ranked.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Like, in a very long. Actually, no, I lie. It's probably like my 5th game playing Tracer recently. And how do you think, as like, where would you rate me? Like, as in, compared to someone that hasn't played Tracer. Like, I want to know where my skill ceiling is from what you can see here. Like, as in
Yeah, no, yeah.
my
If I saw this and you didn't tell me this was your fifth game, I wouldn't have been none the wiser, is what I'll say. So that implies that there's like again a good sort of skill or yeah a good sort of skill cap or good skill ceiling that you can sort of again reach. Mechanically, there weren't any like massive misplays. Again, blink minis didn't cry about. The blink minis were more than reasonable. In fact, it's kind of a bonus of not playing Tracer that much. Is that it hasn't become muscle memory, just a insta blink mini everything that you see. The tracking was also fine. No like insane clips into thin air. Yeah, I was none the wiser. I think a little bit more discipline will go a long way. And if you again reframe or just take away that Genji mindset, you'll get far. So I've got no complaints about that really. But anything else?
um, no, I don't want to take up much more of your time since I've gone over my hour. So, but what I will say is also I sent the proof of me playing Genji for 34 hours and then playing Tracer for only two.
Right, right.
So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna play a bit more ranked along like the following weeks, and then I'll book you again, and then I'll give you a replay code from whenever, like as in from the future and things, because I got work in an hour. I work night shift, so I can't really. It's hard for
Okay.
me to play games. Yeah, so if I'm a very good learner, so hopefully next time I show you a clip, it's gonna be like 10 times better, and there's fewer mistakes.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. But
Fingers
yeah.
crossed.
Okay. I'll also I've recorded the session too, so you can watch back at your spare pace.